The price of freedom is death. We're coming to get our check.
Black first, my brothers and my sisters. Welcome to the Afro Elite YouTube channel. I'm your host, Afro Elite. I appreciate every single last one of you all for watching. We have much to discuss this evening because the battle of the tethers, the battle of the Democratic shields, the battle between Stephen A. Smith and Roland Martin has begun. And you'd be surprised, to be very honest, who is correct in this whole situation. I know you think like neither one of these two could ever say anything correct. But to be totally honest with you, as the old saying goes, a broken clock is right twice a day. So who is the one who is correct and incorrect in this situation? What is the situation even about? This situation is about recent information that came out about January 6th. Now, the January 6th invasion, everybody likes to point out how deadly it was, which it was. Everybody likes to point out all of the horrific harm and it's a threat to democracy and all of this stuff about January 6th and how incredibly horrific and dangerous and deadly it was to America, to democracy, how it separated people, how it was something that was terrible that we didn't want to see again. And it was all Donald Trump's fault. It was all Donald Trump's fault. Donald Trump planned the whole thing. He let the thing. He was there, actually, let them tell it. He was there and he charged the Capitol himself because he was mad about the election results. He was mad he lost to Joe Biden. He said no. So he planned the whole thing. He brought thousands of people there. He broke into the Capitol building and he stormed and he was looking for Mike Pence, who betrayed him. That is the story that they are telling you, and that is the story that they want you to believe. But recent information has come out and found out that that's not very accurate. Now, the reason we know as Black first people, because we on code here, we're not right or left. We're just on code. And on code is neither. All right. So it's Black first. All right. That's the reason why I start every video, every live stream with that, because I want that to like sink in. That number one, first and foremost, this is what it is. All right. This is the agenda behind anything and everything I say. All right. So when it comes to that, we understand that the people who did January 6th were all the way dead wrong. Nobody's making any excuse for them. Nobody's belittling what they did. Nobody's trying to make light of that or trying to justify or rationalize that at all whatsoever. Nobody's doing that. But on the other hand, on the Democrat side, we do understand that the Democrats were very light when it comes to punishing them. We've gone through several cases of them throwing them little misdemeanors for trespassing, small misdemeanors, things that get thrown at in court. They did not throw the book at them. Now they're getting rappers, Young Thug, Little Durk, they getting all types of rappers on RICO charges for rap lyrics, but they didn't get none, and I do mean none. 0%. All right, none, zero, zip, zap, none. None of them got RICO charges. None of these people stormed the Capitol. They barged through the buildings. They had nooses outside. You had a whole bunch of people injured. You had officers, brave, heroic officers like Michael Byrd, who had to stand between the chaos, injustice himself, and he had to take out that crazy, insane, extremist terrorist, Ashley Babbitt, which was, what he had to do to protect himself and to protect democracy, which is what he had to do. So we understand that all of them should get punished. Now, on the Republican side, they say, oh, no, that's not true. That's not true. These were just peaceful protesters and they didn't really harm anybody and everything is good and they're great and they're hero. And then you have the Democrats who only use it. Just keep this in mind. They only bring up January 6th, only when they can put it on Donald Trump. So we understand the in-between, the gray area in between. They're both wrong. Because Biden, Kamala, you can just imagine what they could have done if they were Black. if the January 6th insurrectionists, if they were black, it would have been tons of felonies, not just um federal crimes. It would have been tons of state crimes, and they would have did that deliberately so that way Trump, if he won the election, he couldn't pardon them. He couldn't pardon them because he can only pardon the felonies on the federal level. He couldn't pardon on the state level. All right. So they should have made sure his Department of Justice, Biden's Department of Justice, he could have easily cracked down and made sure that they were charged on the federal level and on the state level. But Biden's DOJ has been throwing little bones under the table to white supremacists. That's different from Trump, who will just throw it over the table. Biden will slide it to you under the table. He'll put it on the table and then kick it to you and then act like he didn't do that. So that's really the only difference. And we acknowledge that. All right. So there's this report that came out from the FBI, and we're going to have to get into that before we get into what Stephen A. Smith had to say about it, and then following what Roland Martin had to say about it. So here it, can you, the thing, okay, hold on. It's not on the screen. It's not on the screen. That's why you can't see it, because it's not on the screen. I got to put it on the screen in order for you to see it, of course. All right. I've been doing this for a while. I should know that. Now, this is from the Department of Justice. We're not going to read the whole report. I just want you to see where it comes from. All right. This is from the FBI. This is a report from the FBI about the situation leading up to January 6th. I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to get you pretty much what everybody is talking about in this report. All right. Right here. This is what we need to know right here. It says, no undercover FBI employees at protests or at Capitol on January 6th. It says, we have found no evidence in the materials we've reviewed or the testimonies we've received showing or suggesting that the FBI had undercover employees in the various protest crowds or at the Capitol on January 6th. It continues to say, we're gonna get into a little bit. All right, not the whole thing. Shout out to y'all, because y'all already on 100 things. That's very important. And we a little bit late, an hour late, but we good. We are good because we got to get into this. It says today's report also details our findings regarding FBI, and this is what is SHC? SHC stands for. It's at the top. I keep forgetting what it is. It stands for the confidential human source. All right. The confidential human source. So anytime you see CHS is confidential human source. All right. So it says today's report also details the findings regarding FBI's confidential human source who were in this, Washington, D.C. on January 6th. Our review determined that none of the FBI CHSs was authorized, listen to this, by the FBI to enter the Capitol or a restricted area or to otherwise break the law on January 6th, nor was any CHS directed by the FBI to encourage others to commit illegal acts on January 6th. Our findings also include, now we're going to get into that, but let me explain what this means. What this means, because it's going to be very important. So what they're trying to say, what's going to be the argument, I wanted you to know this before we get into this. What the argument is going to be is that the FBI had plants in the crowd, in the January 6th crowd. And yeah, there were FBI agents who were present at the time, but the FBI agents who were present, they were working undercover. So when they broke into the Capitol, it's not because the FBI had planted anything. It's because they were undercover. Now, we all know as FBI, we already know how corrupt the FBI is, the local police department is, the federal police department. We all know this. We know for a fact there were several police officers, state, federal, and everything in between, several people with badges who were at the January 6th Capitol who were not supposed to be there. Now, according to this FBI report, I'm getting you straight from the website. I'm not summarizing this. I'm not pulling this off of somebody's tweet. I'm not getting this off of somebody's video. Straight from the website. It states that there were a few who were there. None of them were supposed to break into the Capitol. None of them were supposed to break the law. None of them were supposed to step on Capitol grounds when they were not supposed to. None of them were supposed to be doing any of that. Nor were any of them supposed to be encouraging anybody to do that. All right? They were not supposed to be inciting anybody to do that. Now, that's very, very important. Remember that going forward. We're going to read a little bit more, then we're going to get to the videos. Scrolling down, y'all, we're right here. We're just going to read a little bit more, y'all. Just a little bit more. Then we're going to get to the video. So y'all stay tuned. Y'all lock in. If y'all would be so kind to make sure y'all hit that subscribe button, like button, and all of that. It says 26. Remember this number, 26 FBI CHS. I want you guys going forward from now on, anytime we hear the word CHS, just substitute that with informant. Substitute CHS with informant. All right. So when they say FBI CHS, that means FBI informants or undercover FBI agents. All right. 26 undercover FBI agents were in Washington, D.C. on January 6th in connection with the events of January 6th. All right. Remember that it says the OIG, the OIG stands for, hold on, what does the OIG stand? Okay, the OIG stands for, I'm sorry, y'all, Office of Inspector General. So this is the one who make the report. All right, this is the one who got all the data, made the report. The Office of Inspector General determined that 3, now remember we said 26, so 3 of the undercover agents had been tasked by FBI field office to report on specific domestic terrorism case subjects who were possibly attending the events of January 6th. One of the 3 undercover agents entered the Capitol during the riot. Now, remember earlier we stated that was illegal. Remember that we stated, according to the FBI, that none of them were supposed to be doing that. But one of them had gave the report, and one of them said that they were doing that. One of the 3. It says the other 2 entered the restricted area around the Capitol. So all 3 of them had broken the law. All right. Going to the second point, it says 23 additional FBI undercover agents were in Washington, D.C. and attended the January 6th events. But we determined that these undercover agents did so on their own initiative and were not tasked by FBI field office to attend the events. Of the 23 undercover agents, 3 of the undercover agents entered the Capitol during the riot, and an additional 11 entered the restricted area around the Capitol. The remaining 9 undercover agents who attended the events on January 6th did not enter the Capitol or the restricted area or otherwise engage in any illegal activity. Now, why is this important, y'all? This is very important. Oh, nope. Got that wrong. This is very important. This is important because what the MAGA is essentially saying, that the whole thing, the entire thing, they were supposed to be going, everything was supposed to be peaceful. The FBI was involved, and the FBI incited this big riot, and then that's when people started breaking into things. Now, what's interesting is when we said that they were doing that at the protest, at the George Floyd protest, they was all like, no, that's BLM, and all you black folks and all you blacks and everything like that, you guys are tearing up your own neighborhoods. When we had proof that the FBI and police departments, they were the ones inciting a lot of the violence. Remember what they called his name, the Umbrella Man. The guy who was walking around, found out he was a cop. He was an undercover cop, and he was walking around and he started breaking into stuff, which led to the riots. His name was the Umbrella Man. He found out that this was a cop, and there was multiple other situations at George Floyd protests where cops were starting the breaking into stuff, looting, which led to everybody else doing it. They turned peaceful protests from George Floyd, they turned that into violent stuff. Now, when we said that, all of the MAGA people was like, no, 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 no. You blacks, you guys don't get away with that. Hell no. You guys did it because you guys don't have your fathers in your life. Okay, and all you guys do is commit crimes and have baby mamas and smoke weed and get pregnant. That's all you all do, and commit crimes and crimes. That's all you do because your dad's not in your life and your mom's a crackhead. That's all you all do. That's what they were saying. Now, when it comes to January 6th, they're saying, oh no, the January 6th, we didn't do that. That was the FBI who set us up. The FBI did all of this stuff. So, well, essentially what we proved when we said it, they was like, no, it's not true. But then when they do it, it's true. All right. But this is the evidence. Now, what's very interesting about this evidence is because you all were saying that Donald Trump led the whole thing. You guys didn't let this report come out because you guys wanted to make Donald Trump seem like he was the big bad boogeyman over on the whole thing. That's what you guys wanted to make it seem like. Donald Trump was this big bad boogeyman on the whole thing, and Donald Trump set this whole thing up by himself and all of that. When we found out that that was not the truth whatsoever. Not really. Not the truth at all. All right. So I'm going to get to this. Now we're going to get to the actual reactions. But before we do that, y'all, as you all are hitting that like button, I appreciate you all hitting that like button. All right. We're a little bit behind, so I need you guys heavy in the chat room. Heavy in the chat room. Heavy on the like button. Heavy on the reactions. All of that. Appreciate. Love you all. As we're all doing that, let's make sure we protect this interest of the channel. Copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Oh, we're going to get to what Stephen... hold on, let me mute my phone real quick. We're going to get to what Stephen A had to say. So this is what Stephen A had to say about the situation. All right, here we go.
I want to get into some politics before we get on out of here, as we've now entered the final month of Joe Biden's presidency. And for the sake of argument, it hasn't been a good one. The Democrats lost the White House, Senate, and House in the November election. Meanwhile, this week, FBI Director Christopher Wray announced plans to resign at the end of the Biden administration as President-elect Donald Trump takes office in January. The news comes amidst a bombshell report from the Justice Department that revealed the FBI had at least 26 confidential informants on the ground when the Capitol was stormed on January 6, 2021. The report says most of the informants engaged in illegal activity during the chaos. The Justice Department says only 3 of its 26 informants present had been instructed to observe potential domestic terrorist suspects on the day of the riot. The rest of the 23 appeared to have gone to the Capitol on their own accord.
Now, I showed you the report. Stephen is just saying that. I showed you that. So this is according to what the FBI is confirming, that they had only put 3 there. Only 3 of them were supposed to be there. 23 FBI agents went there by themselves. They did not have permission to go there. So 23 of them, because we all know for a fact according to the FBI, there are white supremacists that have infiltrated the FBI. There are white supremacists that have infiltrated law enforcement. This is not new to us. Of course it's not. It's not new to us. We already know that. This is what Stephen A is starting to say. Oh yeah, that hairline. Oh, that hairline. Oh, we're gonna get a little roasting in. Don't worry, fam. We're gonna get a little bit of roast. We got to. Of course we have to. Oh, come on, don't do it. All right. Hold on, y'all.
On their own accord. Upon hearing news of the report, Vice President-elect J.D. Vance posted the following on X, quote, "For those keeping score at home, this was labeled a dangerous conspiracy theory months ago," end quote. So 23 folks for the FBI were in the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just finding that out. Didn't hear anything about that for the election. Didn't hear anything about that when the quote-unquote insurrection was broached by Vice President Kamala Harris as the Democratic nominee, by President Biden before her, by Democrats in both the House and the Senate as they articulated the belief that Donald Trump was a danger to democracy and using this as a profound, illuminating bullet point to make that case. And now here we are yet again finding even more evidence to Donald Trump's claims when he articulated that the process is rigged, the Democrats are this or that, they're talking about us, but look at what they do. We don't know all the details. It's a report. Justice Department comes out with this. That's not my big issue. My big issue is that I'm really, really sick and tired of every time I turn around finding something else that the Democrats have lied about or downplayed or misrepresented along the way. Where's the $1.5 billion that was given to the Democratic Party? Where is it? Where'd the money go? Why was Oprah given $2.5 million? Why was Al Sharpton's National Action Network given that much money? Before interviews, by the way. Why? I think it was $500K for the National Action Network. Why? I want to be clear. I don't have any problem with the National Action Network taking that money because they don't have a lot of money. I have more of a problem with Oprah taking $2.5 million when she's worth over $1 billion. But speaking to us as if her heart and soul was so immersed in supporting Kamala Harris. Well, then why didn't you?
Hold on. So y'all know, hey, I'm not gonna lie. I'm the type of person, even if I don't like somebody, even if I don't, which I don't, everybody know that. Even if I don't like somebody, you gotta give credit where credit is due. Stephen A. Smith is calling out Oprah for lying about Kamala Harris. What type of bizarro world is this? You know, I gotta say, come on now. You know you off code as hell when you getting called out by Stephen A. Smith. Come on. You know you backwards, okay? The world has flipped and turned on its axis, all right? The sun is cold and the moon is piping hot when Stephen A. Smith is calling you on your BS. And he's right. Stephen is calling Oprah on her BS for lying because she made it seem like Kamala Harris was a lifelong friend of hers and she knew her and she loved her and everything she did was great and Donald Trump was a threat to democracy. So did Al Sharpton, so did Roland Martin, so did all of them. And they found out that they were getting paid. And Stephen is calling that out. Oh, you just know something is just wrong. Something is wrong. Like you woke up in opposite day. Okay. Now, a lot of people want to talk about his haircut. A lot of people want to talk about his haircut, y'all. I'm going to say one thing. I'm going to ask y'all a question. Do y'all think Stephen, I'm just asking. I'm not even going to give my opinion. I'm not going to give my opinion yet. I'm asking a question because I don't want to sway anybody's opinion. But do y'all think Stephen should just give it up? Y'all let me know. Put the scissors emoji in the chat room if y'all think he should just give it up. If y'all think he should just give whatever this is up, let me know that. Put the scissor emoji in the chat room because I can tell I don't know much about judging people. I don't know where he goes. I don't know too much about Stephen A. I just know one thing. His barber is going to hell. I don't know who Stephen is paying. Stephen, give it up, brother. I'm saying this because you did something on code, so now I'm trying to give you a little bit of advice because I already see the scissors in the chat room. Stephen, your hairline starts in the middle of your head. You're the reason. Stephen A is really the main reason. He's like the king of kings when it comes to tether hairlines. I just got to say it. I got to say it. I mean, tether hair, and he keep it lined up too. This is just, he literally goes to the barber shop and he keeps it lined up. Oh, he just needs to stop. He needs to stop. He got too much forehead. I don't know. Come on, Stephen. Come on. When somebody take a picture, that's why he got to lean forward so much. I want y'all to see that. Stephen has to lean forward so much so you can see the hair. Because when Stephen sits straight up, you don't see any hair. He looks bald. So that's why he kind of has to look down all the time so you can see the hairline. Because you can't see the hairline when he sits straight up. Like, I want you to see. When I sit straight up like this, you can see my hair. Stephen, he has to talk like this so you can see his hair all the time. Notice he has to do like this and kind of move away so you can kind of see the hair a little bit. Okay, that's why it's kind of dimly lit, so it looks like the hairline is a little bit further down towards the forehead than it really is, but it's really not. All right, Stephen, I think the chat room has spoken. I think the chat room has spoken. It's over. It's over. Okay, just cut that whatever it is off. I don't know how much you're paying your barber. You are overpaying. You are overpaying. If you're doing it yourself, I can imagine. Okay, I can imagine, because I couldn't see myself if I was Stephen A. Let me just digress for a little bit. If I was Stephen A, I couldn't imagine going to a barber shop and saying and telling people, just line me up a little off the top, but line me up just a little bit. I couldn't bear the embarrassment of going to a barber shop and having everybody in the barber laugh at me. I couldn't do it. I couldn't bear the embarrassment of being laughed at as I walked in the barbershop and being laughed at more as I walk out the barbershop. I couldn't do that. Couldn't be me. Couldn't be me. I'd wear a hat for the rest of my life. Okay, before I went through that embarrassment. I don't know who his barber is, but his barber hates him, clearly. All right? But I think the chat room has spoken. Stephen needs to get that up. He needs to get that up. He needs to get that up. Let's get back to the video, though. Let's get back to the video. All right.
You do it for free. I'm just asking. I'm just asking these things because I think it's important. And I think that the time has arrived where we have to stop letting stuff go all the time, particularly when it comes to the left. I mean, I see Republicans like Megyn Kelly or Officer Tatum or Candace Owens or, the Sean Hannitys of the world. You know what I'm getting tired of? I'm getting to the Democratic Party. You know what I'm getting really pissed off about? I'm getting really ticked off at every time they open their mouth about something pertaining to y'all, they seem right.
You ain't wrong.
I would love to argue with Sean Hannity. How can I? Do you know what Sean Hannity used to do to me when I told him Kamala Harris had a chance? He'd laugh. Like literally, genuinely giggle. He'd go on TV and put on his straight face to y'all. You got to be concerned. This election could go either way. He laughed. He wasn't concerned about her.
Which is why, okay, and this is another important thing too. We were calling this out from the very beginning. Steven is now just starting to finally admit, like I said before, I made a live stream before, everything we're saying, they're finally starting to come out and say what we're saying is true. They're finally starting to confirm everything we're saying was true the entire time. We said the entire time she does not have any black support. They said, yes, she does. We said, no, she doesn't. She didn't. We said the entire time the polls and the media are trying to boost her up artificially to make it seem like she has more support and more influence than she really does. They said, that's not true. It was true. Okay, we said she's losing the swing states. She said, no, they're not. She was, lost them all. Everything we said, they're now starting to tell the truth about. Now, what's interesting is that Stephen A is just starting. He's low-key, a little dry snitching. Low-key, he's snitching on him. He's snitching on him. That's what he's doing. Because Stephen said when he talked to Sean Hannity knew for a fact that Kamala was not going to win. He knew that. Now, the media, they would get on the internet and they would get on their panels and everything, be all like, sir, this is a close race. I mean, the swing states can go either way. It's going her way. It's going his way. We just don't know. It's going to be a nail biter. They were saying that the whole time. And we was like, no, I don't think so. I don't think. That's what we were saying the whole time. And they all knew it, which is why you can't trust them. Because they all knew something, and then they would get here, they would put themselves in front of a laptop, in front of a camera, and they would straight up lie over and over and over and over and over again. They never believed anything that they were saying. None of them did. None of them believed that she was going to win. None of them believed Biden was going to win. None of them believed anything that they were saying for real. We don't even know if they voted for her, to be honest. Can't blame them if they didn't, but we don't know that because they were always lying the whole time. We were the only people who were telling the truth the entire time. We were the only people who were doing that. All right. So low-key snitching. I ain't mad at him, no. I ain't mad at him, but low-key, that's what he's doing. Continuing though.
I called out Biden. He was calling Biden Sleepy Joe.
Ooh.
What's percolating on social media today? Just go and look at it, y'all. Joe Biden is caught napping at an African summit in Angola.
Damn.
For at least a full minute. They didn't say whether he was snoring or not. That's about all that was missing. But he was clearly asleep. I'm not going to pardon my son. I want to state for the record, I have no problem with him pardoning Hunter Biden.
I do.
I had a problem with him trying to act like it was unjust what was being done in pursuit of getting after my son because they wanted to get to me. All you had to say was, I'm pardoning my son because he's my son. You couldn't just say that, though. You know why you couldn't say that, President Biden? Because you had been telling us it was the last thing that you were going to do. And why did you say that? Why did Karine Jean-Pierre, remember how she said he will absolutely not pardon his son? It's all over social media right now. They kept saying it. It's everywhere. How many times did the Democrats tell us no one's above the law? No one's above the law. No one's above the law. Nancy Pelosi, Hakeem Jeffries, Elizabeth Warren, who makes you feel like your soul is going to hell if you don't agree with her.
She does. And look, I'm not going to lie. Stephen A's whole rant, Stephen is that's the craziest thing. And that's all we got to show with that. Stephen is correct, though, and that's the craziest, most bizarre thing because we know him for not being that, being off code. Stephen is correct as far as calling out the Democrats because everything that they say, we're on this moral high ground, and there's no way we could stoop down to their level and do some of the duplicitous, unscrupulous behavior that they do, and their actions and everything like that is wrong. It's terrible. It's undemocratic. It's against democracy. It's unpatriotic. But they do the same thing. They said, I swear to God, I will not pardon my son. That's what Biden said. He said, I will not pardon my son. Okay, then after election, well, see what happened was, I lied. All right? Again, y'all should know this by now. Come on, son. Time to go home. All right, you already knew daddy got you. Come on now. Why are you crying? Wipe your tears off. There's crack at the house. You know, I know you've been a couple days without it. That's Biden. So Stephen is correct. Let's get to the super chat. We got a super chat before we get into Roland's response to it. Our sister Nisi says, Afro, I would like to nominate Rosemary Gabbard for a wrench, sir. All right. Thank you for the super chat. Rosemary, what I need you to do, send me an email. Because I gotta talk to you. I do that with all the mods. Send me an email. My email's in the description below. Mods, y'all can hook her up. All right, but let's get to Roland's response to the situation, because Roland was pissed. I'm talking about he was livid. He was livid. Let's get to Roland. Y'all know he don't like nobody talking about the Democrats. He don't like nobody talking about the Democrats. So let's get into this.
He was right instead of them.
To be honest, I'm not going to say, and y'all already know, don't like Stephen A. Y'all know that. But I will give credit where credit is due. Stephen is not wrong. He is not wrong. Stephen is correct. Because the hypocrisy, not that the Republicans are good or moral or anything, but the hypocrisy from the Democratic Party is what makes the Republicans look correct. Because if Donald Trump said there were FBI agents who were not supposed to be there in January 6th, and y'all said that was a lie, and then the report comes out saying that there are agents, FBI agents, at January 6th doing illegal actions, and they were not supposed to be there, that gives fuel. Even if what Donald Trump is saying is not fully correct, it gives evidence to his claims. It does back his claim and his narrative up. And the reason why it does, because he was saying something that you all, the Democratic Party, said was a lie, said was not true. And then you all had to finally admit, okay, well, it is a little true. It's not all the way true, but it's a little true. When you say something is not true and it turns out to be a little bit true, you just completely ruin your whole credibility. You can't say something did not happen. Okay, it happened a little bit. No, it don't work like that. If you say something didn't happen and it did happen a little bit, you are lying. You are being deceitful. You are being deceptive. And this is why people do not trust the Democratic Party. Now, what's interesting about this is that we already know Roland Martin should be the last one talking, because Roland Martin didn't even disclose the fact that he got paid $300,000 to do an interview with the loser, Kamala Harris. Him and Kamala did a whole interview, and she was paid, and he went up there explaining it off, talking about it was what'd he say? He said it was, what'd he say? Advertisement. Oh, he said it was advertisement. That's what he said. He said, oh no, it's just political advertisement. That's why I did shilling for several months. And then even after the fact. Now, here's the thing. He's already messed up. He took the bag. He can't go back now. He can't be independent now. He already took the bag. So now he's going to go after Stephen A., one of his friends. Shields, man, you know, no honor among thieves, no honor among shields, no honor among tethers either. Let's see what Roland had to say.
You know, Stephen A. normally dons a cowboy hat when he's talking about the Dallas Cowboys. I have no idea what the hell Stephen A. was just talking about. I know Stephen A. I respect Stephen A. Stephen A., you know sports. On this, you know what the hell you talking about. Like, I literally have no idea what the hell he was talking about there.
I want to continue. I do. I really do. And I've been pausing it a lot. And we haven't even gotten into Roland thing. But y'all, why is Roland wearing a cowboy hat? I want to get into, I really do, y'all. Y'all know I'm trying my best not to be petty and to let the program continue and commence. Why is he wearing a cowboy hat? Somebody please inform me. Somebody please let me know. Now, we was just talking. I gotta say it. I gotta say it. We was just talking about how Stephen A needs a hat. Is Roland trying to tell Stephen A something? We was just talking about, I think you should cut it off. Maybe you should get a hat. Roland, that's not the look. That's not your look, bro. That's not it. To be honest, though, nothing is his look, because Roland is just an ugly mofo. He's just, he ain't got a neck enough. Roland, what are you doing? He got here to talk about January 6th with a big cowboy hat on. Okay, but okay, all right. Roland was out here riding horses or something else. He was riding something. All right, but let's continue to what Roland had to say. I just had to say that. I just had to. Couldn't let it go. I couldn't. I tried to. Couldn't.
How he's pissed off, and the Democrats and Trump said stuff was rigged. And y'all, MAGA is running that clip everywhere. Oh, they are saying, oh, see, even Stephen, the truth. They all know the truth. Go to my iPad. So,
why did he yell that? Is it just, why is he so mad? Is it me? Is it me, y'all? Tell me if it's, why did he go to my iPad? Why did he do that? Why is he? I gotta take it. I gotta take it back a little. Why did he yell that way? Like, okay, it's not. Is it this bad? Come on now. Come on. You that man? Hold on. I gotta make it full screen. And we all gotta be careful about that iPad. We don't, because we don't know.
Stephen A. I respect Stephen A. Stephen A. You know sports.
Calm,
on this,
calm and everything's cool and cool.
You know what the hell you talking about.
Okay, he gets a little turned up.
I literally have no idea.
Okay,
what the hell he was talking about there.
Okay,
how he's pissed like off, and the Democrats and Trump said stuff was rigged. And y'all, MAGA is running that clip everywhere. Oh, really. They are saying, oh, see, even Stephen, the truth. They all know the truth. Go to my iPad.
Rolling. You're not intimidating, dude. Like, it just don't land when you roll. You yell. It's just, you just not. You just really not, dude. Sitting up there screaming in the cowboy hat. What are you doing?
Associated Press, fact focus. Inspector General's January 6th report misrepresented as proof of FBI setup. The basis of what the right has been saying is that January 6th was fine. It was great. It was wonderful. But the FBI, it was a setup. The FBI, they were behind the whole deal. They were agents. They were the ones who were starting stuff. The report, this is the AP, the watchdog report, examined a number of areas. Go back, including whether major intelligence failures preceded the riot and whether the FBI in some way provoked the violence. Claims spreading online focus on the report's finding that 26 FBI informants were in Washington for election-related protests on January 6th, including 3 who had been tasked with traveling to the city to report on others who were potentially planning to attend the event.
This is the lie. Let me let him finish the statement. And we got to chop it down. Okay.
Although 17 of those informants either entered the Capitol or a restricted area around the building during the riot, none of the 26 total informants were authorized to do so by the Bureau, according to the report. Nor were they authorized to otherwise break the law or encourage others to do so. That's the report.
Okay, I literally I'm not getting you. I didn't give you the report from an article, all right, which is what he did. And he gave you a report from the article because the article rewords the report. I gave you the report from the FBI specifically. Okay, what the Office of Inspector General said specifically. What Roland is trying to do is he's trying to go from an article and he's going to read it as if that's the report, which he knows is not the report, so he can give you misinformation. The point of the matter is, he said there was informants there. There was 3 informants who were sent there, and then there was other informants there. No, that's not what happened. No, there were 3 informants who were a part of the groups. They were following groups of people who were there. Okay, the 3 informants were not sent to the Capitol. They were sent to follow the Proud Boys, the Boogaloo Boys, all those other white supremacist groups. 23, most of them went there by themselves. Most of them did not go there under the authority of the FBI. Just because they work for the FBI does not mean the FBI sent them there. This is the point that people are making. None of them were supposed to break into the Capitol or step on restricted boundaries or like the Capitol property lands. Most of them did. Most of them did do that. All right. This is what Stephen A is saying, that y'all had FBI doing a whole bunch of stuff FBI was not supposed to be doing. And when MAGA said that they were doing that, y'all said that they lied, and that's just a conspiracy to clear Donald Trump's name. And then after the election, now you guys want to come out and be all like, well, yeah, it's a little true. It's not really all the way true, but it's a little true. But you guys seem disingenuous. You guys have lost credibility. You guys seem like you're lying now. That's what it seems like. You're lying, which you did. Roland is trying to give you bits and pieces to make it seem like the FBI did everything that they were supposed to do, and that saying the FBI was at fault at all, period, is a conspiracy. Because what that does is that takes the pressure off of Donald Trump. All right? Okay. I need you guys to, as we guys are doing this, I need you guys to hit that like button. Y'all got to hit that like button. Come on now. Let's hit this like button. Appreciate every single last one of you guys. And let's get back to it.
And so when Stephen A is going on and they said here, making Trump out to be true. No, he lied. He lied. Claim. A December 2024 report released by the DOJ's Office of the Inspector General is proof that the January 6th Capitol riot was a setup by the FBI. The facts, that's false. The report found that no undercover FBI employees were at the riot on January 6th, and that none of the Bureau's informants were authorized to participate. Informants, also known as confidential human sources, work with the FBI to provide information, but are not on the Bureau's payroll, undercover agents, or employed by the FBI. Those are facts. And so for Stephen A. and Clay Travis and Sage Steele, all the rest of these people, let me help y'all out something. I'm about to help y'all out.
Oh boy, he's about to help them out.
The FBI and the state police and the DEA and the ATF and a sheriff's office and a local police department
Oh, you about to blow
and
up
a
now.
campus police department,
Whoa.
even top flight security doesn't come out and tell the public who the fucking informants are. Do you know?
Why is he so mad? He is livid. He is livid right now. This man is livid. I mean, just screaming, curse. What? Hold on. That's why I had to make a big screen for you all. I literally had to make a big. He is livid right now. Oh, look at that face. Oh my God. That if that is not a screenshot, if he ain't bucking his eyes right there. What the hell? All right, let's continue though. Let's listen.
Why? Because the informants are inside the groups. The Proud Boys, that racist group. The FBI had people on the inside feeding them information. You can't arrest somebody unless a crime is committed or unless they were planning, let's say, to kill somebody. Every law enforcement agency has undercover cops. These were not undercover agents. They were informants. So, Stephen A., what were Democrats lying about? What were they lying about? All of a sudden, MAGA's like, oh, no. This is all the FBI. No! They were informants. Tell us what's going on. Feed us information. In fact, one of the Proud Boys who's in prison, that Enrique dude, he was an informant.
Okay. So Roland is beside himself, triggered, emotional, outraged by his former friend, Stephen A. And what's so interesting about this situation, y'all, is that Stephen A. is right. Stephen A. is correct. Stephen A. is correct. He's telling the truth. He's right. Stephen is correct in this situation. Yes, he is. I will say that one more time. He's correct. Stephen knows what Stephen essentially said was that the Democratic Party paints a picture of something. And they paint a picture, they paint a narrative so they can be on a moral pedestal above the Republican Party. They point at the Republican Party, they wag their finger, they say, you guys shouldn't do this. Look at what they do this, and we would never do this. They don't have any morals. We have morals. They don't have any principles. We have principles. They don't follow the law. We follow the law. They break the law. We don't break the law. They break their promise. We don't break our promise. This is what the Democrat Party builds its platform on, the higher moral ground, and being a man of the people and a person of the people, man of the people, woman of the people, all of these things. And they're just love for dignity and democracy and patriotism and righteousness is above the nasty, evil, unscrupulous Republican Party. That's what they say. Then they turn around and do the same thing. They turn around, and as you guys are finding out, they're doing the same thing. They were not being transparent. And this was what Stephen A., and I gotta say, he was not wrong. This is the point Stephen A. was making. The point Stephen A was making is that you all paint a picture, and then later we find out that the picture you painted was inaccurate, and you guys did it to deceive people into making people believe that you guys believed in these things. You had principles, you had all of these things, but you don't. That was the point. All right. So we're gonna fast forward a little bit. Because then Roland kind of goes off for a little bit reading the thing. Then we're going to get to Roland's panel, because Roland allows his panel to jump in.
The only reason we know what happened is because in the truck, it was 3 of them. In the truck, it was an FBI informant who was in the truck with the 2 other KKK members who shot and killed Viola. That brother who was next to her, I interviewed him in Selma.
Now, what's interesting is that Roland, like I said, Roland is just a fat liar, a big fat roly-poly no-neck liar. Because the thing is that it's not about the informant. Because guess what? Informants are supposed to be where they're at. If you guys didn't know that. If you're an informant working for the FBI, that means the FBI sent you on a mission. That means the FBI told you who to watch, what group to watch, where to be, where not to be, what to do, what not to do. That means the FBI or the police or whoever is your agency, they sent you there. You were selected to be there. You are supposed to be there. And according to the FBI report, 23 of them were not sent there. 23 of them, follow me because the numbers are very important. 23 of them were not supposed to be there. So Roland keeps talking about, oh no, they're informants. They're informants. How are they informants when they were not supposed to be there? Tell me who are they informing? Because according to the FBI, they only got 3 reports and there were 26 informants there. So where'd the other 23 reports go? Oh yeah, the 23 of them didn't give a report because they weren't supposed to be there. But Roland is trying to, because he keeps wanting Donald Trump to be the worst man to ever step foot on the earth. So he keeps trying to peddle this same deceitful misinformation. But let's listen to what his panel had to say.
Years ago. That's what criminal informants do. So how silly is it to say that Democrats lied about January 6th? The FBI agents were not involved. It was informants who were feeding them information. And I am sick and tired of these MAGA people with their crap. And yes, I was greatly disappointed to see that rant from Stephen A, because he was absolutely, positively wrong. This is not about protecting Democrats, and it's not about criticizing Republicans. It's about speaking truth, and the report has been grossly misrepresented by these crazy, deranged MAGA people.
Yeah, Roland. Now, I guess the one positive light at the end of the tunnel is that Stephen A. Smith, his delivery and what he was saying was so confusing. Like you said, I listened to it for about 4 times and I still could not figure out what he was trying to say. So the majority of us probably will not receive the message that he's attempting to deliver. But on the flip side of journalism, that's very unfortunate, because a simple click of the AP News or any other source would have revealed what the actual report said. So it's kind of like a lazy journalism, if anything. So that's very disappointing. But the good side, no one probably understood what he was trying to relay.
Omakongo?
Stephen A. Smith is dangerous. And the fact of the matter is, as I've often said about him, I don't have a problem with somebody jumping into different genres, but you need to apply the same journalistic principles that you use in sports, Stephen A. Smith, to the politics. And you're not doing that in any way, shape, or form. You're serving as a puppet for these guys. It makes me question who you really voted for. And just like with the lady, Miss Lee, the Asian American woman, it seems like people are doing their best to curry favor. This with Trump and his ilk. This is factually inaccurate, and it's disgraceful that Stephen A. Smith continues to jump into politics when he does not know what he's talking about. And the fact that he would put insurrection with air quotes shows everything that it says about where he really sees things. And people need to really start calling him out like you did tonight when he's doing this type of nonsense. And I can't wait for the clip to share it. Stephen A. Smith, if you're going to jump into this fray, either know what you're talking about or just come out and say you're 100% MAGA.
Yo. Before we go, I'm going to let this, he said either know what you're talking about, which means back up the Democrats, or just come out and say you're MAGA. I got something to say about that.
So everybody can be clear about it, because you can't keep trying to straddle the fence and think anybody on this side of the world, meaning this side of the truth, is going to respect you.
Oh, so this side of the truth, you can't think that nobody is going to respect you. Let me say this. This is why the Democrats lost. This is what they did to lose. All right. This is the entire reason why they lost, because you had Roland Martin and his panel of people who don't have a career, don't have a name, don't have a brand. They couldn't do anything without Roland. Nobody on his panel could branch out and be successful on their own. None of them could. Not this weirdo. He couldn't do it. We all know that. But the thing is that Stephen A. says, we don't know if it's true, but Stephen A. has said that he voted for Kamala. That's what he said. Now, he has criticisms of not just Kamala, but the Democratic Party. As a supporter of the Democratic Party, he has a right to have criticisms of the Democratic Party. First off, as a person living in America, you have a right. As an American citizen, you do have a right. We all do. Now, the thing is that every single criticism Stephen A. has, whether it's incorrect or correct, or whether it's slightly misinformed or whatever, it gets completely bashed by Roland Martin. Roland Martin literally gets up there and says, Stephen A., I don't know what the hell you're talking about. If you don't know what you're talking about, you need to shut up. You're misinformed. I'm disappointed in you. All of this bashing, this is what the Democrats do. Anytime you say something about the Democratic Party, Kamala, Biden, anybody, they bash you and bash you and bash you. They say you don't know what you're talking about, but you do know what you're talking about. But what you're talking about is just not what they want you to say. Because what they want you to say is that the Democratic Party is absolutely perfect. All right. The Democratic Party does no wrong. The Democratic Party is from God. The Democratic Party is God. And you have to worship the Democratic Party. And if you do not say that, then you are wrong and you are going to hell. Damn you to hell, sir. That is what they want. That is what Roland does. That is what all of these other Democratic shills do. They do it like literally like they're programmed. Okay. All right. They do that. Stephen doesn't do that. So what you're saying now is that, well, if you, I question who you voted for then. Well, you might as well come out as MAGA. Literally saying, and this is why Roland, people don't listen to Roland. Okay. Only Democrat extremists listen to Roland. You can't even just be a Democrat. You have to be a Democrat extremist to listen to Roland, because literally the single slightest little criticism, question, anything. All right. If you suspect the Democrats are flawed in any way, anybody in the Democratic Party is flawed in any way, you're MAGA. All right. You're disloyal. You're unfaithful, and you have a place in hell for what you have done to the world. All right. That is what they tell you. This is why they lost, because you can't be the extremist. What they should have done is they should have said, well, Stephen, I get where you might have been misinformed. Let me, as your friend, because they were friends, maybe they still are, I don't know. As your friend, let me correct you, because I know what I'm talking about, even though Roland is wrong. And this is Roland's field, quote unquote. And Stephen is stepping into this field of politics. And Stephen he's got one up on Roland. Stephen is stepping into the field of politics, and Stephen is beating Roland. Stephen has more credibility than Roland. Stephen is more right more times than Roland is in politics. And Roland is the one sitting up there getting paid. Remember, he did this whole live stream trying to explain away how he got paid for doing an interview with Kamala Harris. And Stephen ain't doing none of that, and Stephen is more correct than Roland is. Now listen to what some of because Stephen has a response to this, and we're going to get into that. But I want you to listen to what he has to say. But before we do, I want to ask you a very, very important question, and I need everybody in the chat room to participate in this question. We have over 300 people. Need all of you all to participate in this. Whose hairline is worse? Okay. Is it Stephen? Is it Stephen, or is it dude that mop head? I don't know. I don't even know his name. Is it which one? Is it A or B? We'll put A for Stephen A. Is it Stephen A or I don't know. Y'all give him a nickname. I don't know his name. I keep forgetting his name. Y'all give him a nickname for me. Dread dude. Okay. Who's because they both kind of bad. I don't know. I really do not know who has a worse hairline. Because Steven got to lean all the time. That's his thing. Steven really got to lean forward all of the time to kind of show off his hairline. But, you know, when he sit up, you really don't see it. But mop head dude, okay, he don't even got dreads. He don't got locks on the top of his head. He have locks on the sides of his head. Because there's no hair growing out the top of his head. It's just locks growing on the side of his head. Rick James wannabe, y'all play too much. Who said that? Who said that? Who said Rick James wannabe? Detroit brother, that's petty. You said Bush meat dread. Lord have mercy. Y'all on one. Who said Rick Sick James? Somebody said Sick James. Look at y'all. I said y'all come up with a nickname and y'all just going all over the place. You said Sick James. Jefferson Locks. Okay. Y'all gonna have me rolling the whole night. Okay, hold on now. I'm gonna be honest. Let me tell y'all. Let me tell y'all who I think. I'm gonna tell y'all who I think before we go. Because we gotta joke around a little bit. We gotta have a little bit of fun. Somebody said, I can't believe you. You said the Predator. I can't believe you. Why did you say the Predator? You said hell no. That's funny as hell. You said the Predator. What? Bust no rhymes. What are y'all doing? Oh my God. Okay. Forehead march. Lord have mercy. Oh my God. Okay. Let me tell y'all. Okay. I'm going to tell y'all who I think. All right. Because we got to have a little fun. We got to have a little fun. Who I think who I think got a better hairline, even though I think they should both cut it out. Come on now. It ain't going to work. I'm going to be honest. Oh, and I don't like it. I think Steven got him a little bit. I think between the two, y'all, now y'all don't have to agree if y'all don't want to, but between the two, between this and this, Steven got him a little bit. Because at least, even though the hairline is in the middle of his head, at the top of his head, at least it's lined. You can tell he gets it touched up. I don't know why, but he does. You can tell he gets it touched up because that line is just a little bit too symmetrical, okay, for it to just grow naturally, all right? The line stops at the middle of his forehead. No, the top of his head. It stops at the top of his head, but he gets it lined up. Okay, him on the other hand, you don't see any hair on the top of his head at all. At least Steven, I will give Steven this. Come on now. At least Steven knows you got to dip the head. Look at his body. Okay, that's why it seems like his body posture is always off. Because Steven knows you got to dip your head down a little bit. You got to dip it down a little bit so they can see the top of your head. You got to scrunch your shoulders a little bit so they can look up through your eyebrows. You got to do that so they can see the top of your head. Steven knows you got to do that. He don't know. I'm gonna tell you, if you didn't see the locks on the side of his head, you would think he was bald. You wouldn't know he had any hair at all. He doesn't know you got to dip the head down. So maybe they both need their own head thing. Maybe they both need it shaved off. But it's about the technique. See, Steven's been like that for a long time. He probably never had hair like that on the top of his head. He was probably bald as a kid, you know. Okay, no wonder he hates the world. I mean, look at his hair. I would hate the world if my hair was like that too. I mean, if I didn't have a luxurious FBA hairline, I would hate the world too. I couldn't be mad at him. Can y'all be mad at tethers when they got hairlines like that? Like, we don't know what they go through. We always, I mean, we get why we mad at tethers, but look at them. First off, we're foundational Black American people. We're gorgeous. We are the world's most beautiful people. We are blessed beyond belief. We are beautiful. We have beautiful sisters and handsome brothers. We are gorgeous people. We don't understand their pain. We don't know what they go through. So a little bit, we got to kind of not really give them a pass, but try to understand. Well, I can understand why you're mad at the world. If my hairline looked like this, I would be too. If my hairline looked like this, I would be backstabbing everybody. If my hairline looked like this, I would be turning on everybody. Nobody could trust me. I would have a grudge against every single person in the world, especially people who look better than me. I would too. See, this is what we can't relate to that. We can't relate to another group of people looking better than us. See, we don't understand it from that point of view because we just look better than everybody else. We don't understand from the point of view of not being FBA because we do look good. And so, because there's some non-FBA, we're not saying that all non-FBA don't look good. There are some good-looking non-FBA people, okay? All right. We got some, so you know what I'm saying. But as far as collectively speaking, okay, the group, we have the best looking group bar none. Ain't no close, we first and second place. All right, first and second place. So we don't know. So when you look like this, yeah, no wonder you a backstabbing lying piece of crap. No wonder. Look at what you look like. He's probably skinny and bony and unhealthy and got bad teeth and stinky breath. Who knows what's wrong with this man? I mean, come on. We just don't understand their pain. We don't. If you look like this, if this is what you look like, yes, I would be mad at the world too. I'm starting to see it now. I'm starting to see it. I don't agree. They still need to go. We still need to get them up out of here. We need to run them off the block. I still say we need to do that. The mission still stands. But if I look like Roland Martin, I would be an untrustworthy motherfucker too. If I look like Roland Martin, I'd be backstabbing everybody. It's survival of the fittest. I've been dealt a bad hand by God. That's what I would be saying. Come on now. I gotta get mine. That's what I would be saying. Come on. You gotta understand it a little bit. You gotta understand a little bit. You gotta understand a little bit. All right. But let's continue though. Let's continue. Hold on. Where is that? All right.
I mean, this is the tweet, Candace, from Clay Travis. Of course, one of these right-wing MAGA Fox News
Come on
people.
now.
It's interesting to see how many people
they don't get no FBA swag. It's not just the look, it's the vibe and the energy and the swag. They don't get that. They don't have it.
We are waking up to all the lies we've been told. Here's Stephen A. Smith on January 6th Revelations. Dude, no, facts are facts. January 6th, they were insurrectionists. They attacked the Capitol. It wasn't this, peaceful walk in the park. Oh, they were just walking around the Capitol. That's total bullshit.
I think about maybe midnight, he's, when he was in bed, he might have said to himself,
I think I read that wrong, because clearly he did not know what he was talking about. You can't have an undercover sting operation and know about it beforehand, which is what he was crying about. Why didn't we know about this beforehand? If we'd known about it beforehand, it would have been different. But this is because of, we were close to the election. You can't tell people about informants before the information that you want has been received or attained. It would take the sting out of a sting operation. But his air quotes was just mystifying. I don't know what he was talking about, putting insurrection in air quotes. It's as if somebody had said to him before he went on, look, we need to bring up our ratings. And he went up there and just said anything outlandish in order to get some clicks. It didn't make sense. And I know him as somebody who is good at what he does in the world of sports. That's how he was able to get to where he was. Like he just said on the panel, he took such care in sports, knowing all about the history and all about the scores and the people involved in the teams. If you're going to cross over into this world where it involves politics, and you move the needle in how we are living our lives in terms of being in a democratic society, you have to do better. You cannot take on this role and cross over from sports into politics and then hang your hat by putting air quotes around insurrection when you saw what we saw on TV. That makes
now I'm gonna say this one thing. If I was Stephen, I would feel quite offended. To be very honest with you, I'd feel quite offended. If you knew somebody for years, you had them on your show. Like, for instance, there's people you see come on my program. I'm on their program. We have a good relationship. Boo up the bam, right? And if I say something out of term, and then next thing you know, they make a live stream about me dissing me. They don't call me. They don't reach out. First off, I want y'all to understand the people who have been on there's actually everybody who's been on my live has my number. Ain't a single person I've invited as a guest. I've invited to do an interview. I've done anything. Everybody I have, we've had conversations beforehand. I don't just, hey, how you doing? Can you come on? No, we've had conversation beforehand. They have my number. We talk online and we talk offline. Even if we don't talk every day, you know what I'm saying? I have a good relationship with the people who've been on my live, and I've been on theirs, all right? If I've had somebody who I knew for years, and they've been on my channel or whatever the case is, and I say something that they don't agree with, and they don't call me, they don't text me, they don't invite me on their stream to try to get that ironed out, they make a live stream dissing me, saying that I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. And if I don't say what essentially they want me to say, I should shut up, and then invite a bunch of other people on the panel to diss me, I would feel some type of way about that. I would feel some type of way about that. Not only you dissing me, you got a whole panel of people laughing at me and dissing me and saying I'm MAGA and saying I need to hang it up and saying all this stuff. Hold on. But this is what Roland does. Ain't no honor among thieves, Stephen. Now you're realizing that. Now you're starting to realize that. This is somebody you knew for a long time. He's been on your platform several times. Y'all have a good relationship. Now, y'all might not be best friends, okay? Y'all might not be poker buddies, but you all are friends. And you all are at least friends enough for him to have reached out to you and said, hey, man, you need to clear that up. Hey, that's not really right. Hey, take the video down at least. But you're going to diss him? And then you're going to have other people diss him? Y'all, I'm not going to lie to you. That's some tether shit right there. But I have another question. And I know I've been asking this question a lot today. I think this is the last time I'm going to ask this question for the rest of the evening. Looking at this right now, who has the worst hairline between Roland Martin and Stephen A? Between Roland Martin and Stephen A, Who do you think has the worst hairline? You want to know my opinion? You want to know my opinion? I'm going to tell you my opinion. Both got a terrible, terrible hairline. But I'm going to give you my opinion. I will give you my opinion. Roland got the worst hairline. Roland has the absolute worst hairline, period. Roland's hairline, I'm going to tell you something. Roland's hairline is worse than this guy. This guy right here. Oh, Lord, look at that picture. He look high as hell. Because at least this dude got hair on the side of his head. He got locks on the side of his head. Steven, his hair is not like it's balding. It's just the hairline is in the middle of his head. It's odd. It's not like Steven is bald. You don't see a bald spot. You just see a huge forehead. It's a very weird look. But Roland looks like he's balding. You know how they comb their hair back when their hair is real thin? They got a few strands of hair and they comb it back to fill in that bald spot. Roland looked like he's balding and he doesn't have any hair on the side of his head. Roland damn near looks bald now. So if you want to compare, I think he does have the worst hairline, honestly. He has to. He has to. And it's probably because he's fat as hell. It's probably because he's fat as hell. He might do some thinning, but when you see it in the sun, he's fat as hell. So it probably shine. Like, look at the reflection. Just look at the reflection of the sun on his head. The sun is beaming off his head like a mirror. It's beaming off his head. Okay? His head is hot. You see the whole reflection of the sun on his forehead. Yeah, he got the worst hairline. I that's just my opinion. I'm sticking to it. That's a terrible hairline. I want to get to what Stephen A. Smith had to say in response to Roland, because Stephen A. he kind of clapped back a little bit.
Looked like he was right.
Okay.
Instead of them.
Here we go. Oh, I pressed the wrong thing.
That is what Roland Martin is responding to. That is what he is saying. He doesn't understand what the hell I'm talking about and what I'm saying when he brings that
technique up. Do you see the technique? See how he always dipping down and dipping down? You see the technique? He's doing that to show you his hairline because it's in the middle of his head. This is why he's like looking at papers and stuff. Do you see the technique? This is what I'm saying with Stephen A. He has a technique. And you know he had a technique like this. He was probably born like this. He was probably born like this, or he had a hairline like this since he was a kid, because he's mastered this technique. All right. When he's on the show, he's always doing like this at weird angles so you can see he has hair. It's a technique to it. It's a technique to it.
First of all, let me say this about Roland Martin. Not hangout buddies or anything like that, but we are friends. He's a guest on this show anytime I ask him to. I respect his knowledge, and he is absolutely right. This is his lane, not mine. Sports is my thing. This is what he does. I get that. But I am allowed to be an expert on what the hell comes out of my mouth and what I believe I said. And that is why I clap back respectfully at my man Roland Martin, not his panelists chirping and mimicking and laughing and giggling in the sideline like anybody know who the hell they are. I ain't talking about them. That's a waste of my time. I'm talking about my brother Roland Martin here. When you say you don't understand or you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, and you have a panel to piggyback and parrot every syllable you uttered, well, why are you doing it if you didn't understand what I'm talking about? Why am I getting attacked if you don't comprehend or understand what I was saying? If it's convoluted, why not ask me to come on and clarify? Why not talk to me and say, what exactly is it that you're trying to say? That is not what Roland Martin did, ladies and gentlemen. What he did instead was marry my thoughts to these extreme conspiracy theories that the MAGA right might have put out there about the FBI having some pivotal role in what transpired on January 6th, 2021. That's what he was doing. Look at this right here. Look at this report from the DOJ. It reads confusion and lack of.
I got to take it back a little bit because I can't with these hairlines.
If you didn't understand what I'm talking about.
But like when you look here and see, when this is how I know when Stephen does the dip, you see the reflection of the light on Stephen's forehead. You see, y'all see it. Y'all see it. We all see it. You see the reflection of the light on his forehead, like half of it. That's why he always got to do that dipper thing. See what I tell you, you know. But when he started get to talking and moving, you can see his forehead shiny as hell. Forehead, five head. I don't even know. I don't really know what to call it. Cause what is that? I wish I could get past the hairline thing, but it's too distracting for me. I've stopped this whole live stream like 4 times at this point talking about hairlines. Can y'all wear a hat so I can be focused on what I'm saying? All of this shining and stuff like that reflecting off y'all heads is just distracting me. Y'all need to wear hats or something, okay? Because this is distracting. We can't pay attention to what you're saying. It's just too much light. You got too much light going on. See, when Stephen was in the other studio, it was dark because he didn't want the light thing to reflect. When he was in the other studio, let me show you the other studio. Let me show you the other studio real quick, y'all. Look at this. When Stephen is in the other studio, it's darker. His other studio is deliberately darker because he does not want the light to be reflecting off the top of his head. But then when he's in the bigger studio with the, you know, fancy lights and stuff like that, now you see the light starting to reflect off the top of his head. That's why he got a dark studio and everything like that. That's why in this picture, as you can see, he liked to keep everything dark because it highlights the little lining he has. But you can see with the Roland thing, when they got a tethered forehead in the light, it starts to beam off. I become a hairline expert right now, okay? I need to stop. We need to stay focused. We must stay focused, brothers. Okay, we must stay focused. All right, here we go. Here we go. We back. We back.
Why am I getting attacked if you don't comprehend or understand what I was saying? If it's convoluted, why not ask me to come on and clarify? Why not talk to me and say, what exactly is it that you're trying to say? That is not what Roland Martin did, ladies and gentlemen. What he did instead was marry my thoughts to these extreme conspiracy theories that the MAGA right might have put out there about the FBI having some pivotal role in what transpired on January 6th, 2021. That's what he was doing. Look at this right here. Look at this report from the DOJ. It reads, confusion and lack of coordination contributed to the FBI's inaccurate report to Congress that had canvassed field offices. After January 6th, the FBI reported to Congress that it had directed its field officers prior to January 6th to canvass their CHSS for information concerning threats in connection with the January 6th electoral certification. However, as noted, we found that no canvassing of field officers for source information had occurred. We found that the FBI statements to Congress were not intentionally inaccurate, and that confusion and lack of coordinated communications contributed to the inaccurate reporting. Why do I bring that up? It doesn't convict the FBI. It doesn't authenticate or validate assertions from the MAGA right that somehow the FBI was corrupt and they manipulated the proceedings to, invoke or provoke violence at the U.S. Capitol that ultimately will be blamed on Donald Trump. That's not what I was saying. What I was saying is, why the hell are we hearing about this now? What took the report so damn long? How come we didn't hear about this before the election? And is it possible that the reason why we didn't hear about it before the election is because folks on the left wanted to marry January 6th completely and totally and utterly to Donald Trump? Is that clear enough? Since y'all got people chirping in you, since you got people chirping in your studio, let me chirp to people in my studio. Brandon, is that clear enough? Is that clear enough, man? I think it is. But let me go a step further.
Uh-oh.
I'm a registered independent. There's people on Roland Martin Unfiltered. By the way, watch that. The brother's brilliant. I got love for him. Got over 1.5 million subscribers. Ain't trying to dissuade anybody from watching my man Roland Martin, because I watch him. What I'm saying is these people that were behind the scenes before they came on as your panelists, I recall one person saying, I either need to know what the hell I'm talking about or admit that I'm 100% MAGA. I got news for you. I'm neither. I don't completely know all the intricate details, nor am I MAGA. I'm a registered independent who voted for Kamala Harris. Oh, by the way, they tried to sit up there and say, I didn't vote for Kamala Harris. I'm sorry, I thought y'all were about facts. I did vote for her. I had my issues. I had my reservations, but I was unapologetic about who I was voting for, and I was very transparent about it. Where's your facts? So you get to engage in innuendo, express frustration, but I can't? Why not? Every time we turn around, all I was trying to say is that something repeatedly comes up that gives the right fodder to say, see, look what they did. When President Joe Biden decided to pardon his son Hunter, I got no problems with that. But I did have a problem with them lying about it for months, saying, we're about the rule of law. We're about the rule of law. We're about the rule of law. He said he's not going to pardon Hunter. They're about the rule of law, the rule of law, the rule of law. And then all of a sudden he pardons him and you hear crickets. So here come the right again. See, they're lying. I've often joked about people like Sean Hannity and other conservatives that I know that if you are a Republican and you shot somebody in broad daylight on Fifth Avenue in New York City, the first words that would come out of their mouth is the Democrats did it first. Because their real salty position is not about acting like they're holier than thou. It's about the Democrats always acting like they're on a higher moral ground and they're above board when one nugget of evidence after another always comes forth showing us they're not.
I'm not going to lie to you. And it's crazy. If y'all didn't see, I just put a poll in the chat room. So if everybody look at your screen, look at your chat room, y'all watching on the TV or something like that, y'all look at your phone. So that way y'all can put a poll. This question is crazy. Hey, I got it. I'm sorry. I cannot get that off my head. Off my forehead. Get it? Did you get the joke? Did you get it? I'm just kidding. I had to, because I was thinking that. I just had to ask. I literally had to. Okay. It's distracting me at this point. It's distracting me. Because I want to know your opinion. I want to know y'all opinion. So I did a whole poll. Okay. Somebody say, stay focused. I'm trying, bro. I'm trying to stay focused. I am. Okay. But I'm not going to lie to you. And what Stephen is talking about, Stephen is cooking. Stephen is correct. Because the Democratic Party bases their whole brand essentially off of being holier than thou, being higher at least than the Republican Party, because that's what they tell the voters. That the voters, they tell, Well, I know we're not the best, but we're way better than those Republicans because there are lines that we just don't cross. We're so much better than the Republicans because we won't do, they lie all the time and they use political positions to help their friends and to help the elite and to help corporations and to help the rich. And they don't do anything to look out for the working man and the working woman. And they don't like the American citizens. And they do this, and this. And then when you find out more of the details, you find out they were doing the same exact things. Kamala Harris, because I gotta admit it, because and this is something we've been saying, Stephen A is just admitting this. Kamala Harris was using campaign funds to do interviews, which, okay, that's one thing. If you're using campaign funds to do interviews, that's one thing. But the fact of the matter is that you are lying about it. The fact of the matter is that you're doing interviews with people like Roland Martin, and Roland is trying to make it seem as if he's doing the interview with you purely out of the kindness of his heart. He's doing the interview with you because he believes in every single thing that you're saying. It's not biased. This is why when we said, hey, all of this stuff is biased. These questions look like they've already been scripted. She seems like she already has a programmed answer for everything. You're not giving any pushback. Y'all not fact checking anything. Y'all letting her dodge all these questions. Why are y'all doing that? Because they were getting paid. They had something in it for them. Roland Martin did. Steve Harvey did. D.L. Hughley did. All of these people. Al Sharpton. All of these people. Oprah Winfrey. All of these people. All of these people were in the Kamala Harris's payroll. They were on the payroll. They were getting donations. Let me not say that because I mean they're not on the payroll. They just get paid one time. They were getting money to help her, but they were not being honest about the money they were getting to help her. They were lying. They were saying that they were doing this just because they believe in the pureness of democracy. And they believe in justice, and they believe she would be the best, and they believe all of this stuff, not believing in anything that they were saying, but only doing it because they were getting paid to say that. All right. And then when we said, remember, these people were getting paid. I played you all the clip. This was back during the election. Remember, I played for you all the clip saying these people are getting paid. They came out with a press release. This was before the DNC. They came out with a press release saying, hey, they're all getting paid. We're paying TikTokers. We're paying influencers. We're giving them the talking points. We're coaching them up, and they're using their platforms to spread DNC messages. They admitted that publicly. And then when we said it, they were like, you guys seem like y'all get paid by MAGA. Y'all get paid by MAGA. Y'all are working for the Republicans. Y'all working for Donald Trump. That's what they were telling us. That we were the ones getting paid. Turns out they were the ones getting paid. Now, what's interesting is that this is about over a month after the election, and we got all these receipts that Kamala Harris was paying for interviews. Watch this. Y'all listen to this. Kamala Harris was out here paying for a whole bunch of interviews because you have to be transparent about where all of your donation money went. Now, she's already in debt, but you got to be transparent. Kamala Harris, I want y'all to listen to this because it's about to be a big one. She was paying for a whole bunch of interviews. We ain't seen one report that Donald Trump paid for any interview. Let me repeat that. We have not seen one report that Donald Trump paid for any interview or that he was misusing any of his campaign money. Now, this doesn't make me a fan or a voter or a supporter of Donald Trump, but I'm just going to say I got to call a spade, right? She was out here saying that he was a billionaire who couldn't manage his money, and she's the one who wound up broke after the election. They were saying that Donald Trump was a threat to democracy because of January 6th. The insurrection going on in January 6th, but turns out the FBI said, oh yeah, there were FBI agents who were not supposed to be there, and they were participating in January 6th. Now, did they set the whole thing up? Did the FBI set the whole thing up? Probably not. More than likely not. But they withheld that information because they wanted to make Donald Trump look bad, which is what Stephen A was saying the whole time. This is what Stephen A was saying the whole time. Now, anytime he comes up with a criticism, which is a legit criticism, he gets attacked and bashed and called and told he's a secret Republican. I'm gonna be honest. Oh boy, this is gonna ruffle a little bit of feathers, but I gotta say it. I really do. Be very honest with you. If Stephen A was on the payroll of the Democrats, they would have done better. I'm gonna be very honest. I'm gonna be very honest with you. Now, y'all might disagree, but objectively speaking, the Democrats would have done better if they swapped Roland Martin for Stephen A. That's honest. That's the honest to God's truth. That's the reality of the situation. If they swapped Stephen A for Roland Martin and they got rid of Roland Martin and replaced him for Stephen A, they still would have lost. Don't get that confused. They would have lost. They still would have lost because it's not who did the interview with them. It's not the talking. It was the agenda of the Democratic Party is the reason why they lost. So they still would have lost. Don't get me wrong. They would have done better is what I'm saying. They would have done better if they picked Stephen A because Stephen A is not as much of a shameless shill who's just going to turn a blind eye to any flaw. This is why she lost, because she was around a bunch of people in this echo chamber. And in this echo chamber, everybody was saying, oh, you're doing great at the polls. You're doing phenomenal. You're doing great. You're doing wonderful. And they were shutting down anybody who had any disagreement with her. Anybody who said anything negative, anything to question her or Biden or the Democrats was shut down completely. Was told they were misinformation, they were dumb, they were trolls, they were being paid by MAGA, they were being paid by the Republican Party or Donald Trump himself, or they were Russian bots. What they were told, what they told anybody who questioned. So what they did is they created this echo chamber where now everybody who is not in this echo chamber is people who are not in this cult-like relationship with the Democratic Party. Any and everybody. This is why she lost. If she would have listened to objective, and I'm not even going to say Stephen A is objective. Let's be honest. I'm not even saying that. But if they would have listened to people who are more objective, if they would have listened to people who have issues with the Democratic Party, they would have lost. Let me play this one clip because I said this before. Let me find this. Remember when I was in that space? I just thought of this, so I don't have it pulled up. Brace, give me a second, y'all. I'm gonna pull it up. Remember, I was in this space with Luke Campbell. When I was in the space with Luke Campbell, where is it? Right here. Hold on. When I was in the space with Luke, right? This is what I said.
Okay, I gotta move right along here.
Yeah, I got you. Look, I want to address Dre Day, right? I'm just addressing your initial comment.
Afro Elite is on you. Afro
Are you moving on? I was going to address Dre Day real quick.
No, let me get you out. Let me get Afro Elite.
I see this.
Just want to know I can be heard.
Yes, sir. We can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. I want to say
now. I just got to say this. If they would have listened to me at this point in time, they would have lost regardless. Because the Democratic agenda, nobody was falling for it because y'all don't want to give tangibles to foundational Black Americans. That's y'all fault. Y'all deserve to lose. I'm glad y'all lost. Okay. This is the space he ended early. No, this is he kicked me out the space. Okay. He didn't just drop me down as a speaker. I was completely removed from the space in general. He just threw me completely out the space when I was making my point. All right. So I was like, okay. But this is when I was saying, if they would have listened,
that a lot of people who have criticisms for Harris does not mean that they support Trump. I think that that's a disingenuous point to make. I think that that's really a straw man argument. Just because one person doesn't like or endorse one candidate does not mean at all that they support the opposite party, does not mean that they support Donald Trump, does not mean they support Republicans or his policies or anything like that. I think the people who really can't find a legitimate defense for the criticisms that Harris is facing, they make this straw man argument and they say, well, you just support Donald Trump. That is a way to deflect from all of the criticisms Kamala is facing. That's a way to deflect from that, because people do have legitimate criticisms. I reposted a video. A lot of people are saying that when she was interviewed, being asked about reparations, and she said no, a lot of people said that that was taken out of context. I found a video of her in a debate where she was asked the exact same type of question, only in regards to immigration and what she was going to do when it comes to DACA. And she gave a list of specific things that she was going to do to specifically repair their grievance. And this is what a lot of people are saying. People are saying not that we don't want her to do anything for anybody else, but when it comes to us, we only get what everybody gets, but other people get things specific to them. There's been legislation that she's specifically pushed for illegal immigrants, for DACA, for asylum seekers. There's been specific legislation she's pushed for LGBT, for trans rights, for reproductive rights, for all of these things. There's been specific things she's pushed for specific groups of people, except when it comes to us as Black Americans who are descended from slavery.
You know, sometimes I be forgetting how I be cooking folks. I'm just listening to it and I'm nodding my head in silence. I'm all like, I was cooking in that space. I forgot how much I was cooking in that space. I was cooking so much.
This is what we're saying. And when we address that, it gets deflected into, well, what is Donald Trump going to do? Donald Trump is not the conversation. You can dislike two people at the same time. You can dislike and disapprove of Donald Trump. I don't endorse Donald Trump. I did not vote for Donald Trump the first time, the second time, and I will not vote for Donald Trump now. I don't support Donald Trump. I don't support the GOP. I don't support Republicans. All of them are white supremacists in my belief. But I also think that the Democrats are equally as complicit in the subjugation and the oppression of Black Americans. They're equally as implicit, if not more so. You have millions of illegal immigrants coming to cities like Chicago, which is where I am, cities like New York, other places, infecting the Black community, harming the Black community. The Democrats don't even address how that is harmful to the Black community at all. There are Black folk who have to live in this that the Democrats are placing them in there for. So these are legitimate criticisms that people do have for the Democratic Party, not just Kamala Harris, but for the entire Democratic Party. And we need to have a mature conversation where that is acknowledged without saying, oh, you just support Donald Trump, or what is Donald Trump going to do? Because that shows a little bit of childishness, and that shows that you really don't have a legitimate defense for the Democratic Party, and you really don't have a legitimate defense for Kamala Harris, who, if you actually go look at her background, a lot of people talking about the re-entry program, and okay, I'm not going to take that off the table, but if you're going to put that on the table, you also have to put on the table that Kamala Harris was almost sued for keeping Black people locked up further than their sentencing time so they can put out forest fires in California. Which is, you can look it up. That's been backed up. You also have to add the fact.
Okay. So, and then this is when he starts cutting me off and not letting me finish my point. This is when he starts doing all that. All right. But ultimately, this is what I was saying the whole time. I was saying the entire time, if you guys, honestly, just objectively speaking, if you want to do better, you cannot create this echo chamber where anybody who criticizes the Democratic Party is MAGA. This is what Luke did. This is what Roland did. And this is why she lost so terribly, because of the shills. Because Roland is really willing to flip on his own quote unquote friends, because I'm telling you something. To Roland, the Democrats are God. You know, somebody would be all like, if they apostate from a religion, they won't be friends. No, but that is what Roland is to the Democrats. That is who he wakes up for. That is why he lives. That is why he breathes. That is why he does anything in his life. When he wakes up and he thinks about his life and the value, the low value, but he doesn't know it's low, the low value of his life, he thinks the Democratic Party. Before he goes to sleep and he prays, he thanks the Democratic Party. Before he wakes up and eats his big breakfast, he thanks the Democratic Party. When he wakes up in the middle of the night to get his midnight snack, he thanks the Democratic Party. When he goes back to bed and wakes up again and again for his third and fourth midnight snack, he thanks the Democratic Party. He believes in every single thing, and he's willing to turn against his own friend for the Democratic Party, disrespect his own friend for the Democratic Party. He didn't call Stephen A. He didn't reach out to Stephen A. Didn't text Stephen A. Didn't invite Stephen A. on or anything like that. Just straight up dissed him. Said, I don't know what the hell he's talking about. I don't know what the hell he's talking about. Go to my iPad. Go to my iPad right now. Snapping off. Going off on Stephen A. And then not only does he go off on his friend Stephen A., not only that, he allows his whole panel to go off on him. He allows his it's one thing. Like, for instance, I can disagree with my friends. I've had friends, we see differences of opinion. You might have in the chat room, brothers, sisters, friends, cousins. Y'all don't agree on everything. That's normal. That's fine. That's to be expected. Imagine if you had your sibling, you and your sibling, y'all arguing, y'all going back and forth, and you say something because like, oh, I'm sick of him. He does and then you allow your friends to jump in and diss your brother or diss your sister. Not only are you mad and you saying something that's kind of out of pocket, you are now inviting. It's not like they just jumped in. You inviting other people to diss your brother or to diss your sister or cousin or even friend. You invited other people that they don't know to diss you. Damn. No honor among thieves, right? And it's all for the worship of the Democratic Party over a point where Stephen was not wrong. You willing to burn a bridge and to ruin a potential friendship over a point and you're not even correct. Roland is all the way wrong in everything he said. Stephen is correct in this instance. Stephen is correct that it's hard to have faith with a Democratic Party who bases their brand off of being holier than thou and higher than thou and more patriotic and more law-abiding, and they turn around and do the same exact thing over and over and over. This is why people cannot trust and do not have any faith in the Democratic Party. On top of the fact that they haven't given us as foundational Black Americans reparations yet, but they keep lying about it. Just like with the situation with California. They said, oh, we're coming up with this task force. We're coming up with this task force. They came up with this task force. We waited years for this task force. And then all of a sudden they all like, you know what? Scrap the whole thing. Just we're done. We're not going to actually do the reparations. Just forget it. This is why people don't trust this task force and the study and HR 40 stuff. We don't trust that because California showed us we know where that leads. The Democratic Party is full of liars, and Stephen is correct for saying that. Surprisingly, he is very correct for saying that. But Roland, oh, you don't speak against his massa. You do not speak against massa. You shall not do that. Damn you. How dare you speak against massa? That's what Roland said. Roland flipped, turned. Y'all, like I said, there's no honor among thieves, y'all. Now, just because Stephen A is correct in this instance, let me put this out and let me be very, very clear. This does not mean Stephen A is on code. This does not mean we are following Stephen A. This does not mean Stephen A. is turning a new leaf. We do not know that. We do not believe that. I don't believe that. This does not mean that. Okay? But like I said, a broken clock is right twice a day. Okay? He is correct. As far as the situation with January 6th, the Democratic Party was deliberately being deceitful about all of the details because they wanted to put everything solely on Donald Trump, when that was not the case. Donald Trump is not the only. I'm not going to say Donald Trump doesn't have anything to do with it. He probably, I don't believe, I'm going to tell you what I don't believe. I don't necessarily believe that Donald Trump planned it. I don't believe Donald Trump planned it. I do think that Donald Trump did not do much of anything to stop it when it was going on. And I think that's very evident. Whether Donald Trump knew about it beforehand or not, I don't know. But I do know for a fact that when it was going on, Donald Trump didn't do any. He put out, I think, a tweet. Somebody can find a tweet. But Donald Trump didn't do anything to stop it for real. And Donald Trump has been very sympathetic for the last few years of all of the people who broke into the Capitol. Of any and everybody. Donald Trump has not said a single critical thing about any of the January 6th insurrectionists. So I will put that on Donald Trump. Donald Trump is to blame for that. So I'm not going to let Donald Trump get a pass. But did Donald Trump set it up? No, I don't think that Donald Trump set it up. Did the FBI set it up? I don't necessarily believe the FBI set it up either, to be honest. But I do think that the Democratic Party was being dishonest. I do think that the Democratic Party was withholding information because they wanted to paint a certain narrative. Whether they knew beforehand or not, they did paint a certain narrative. They didn't really throw charges on them because they didn't really mind it that much, but they wanted to use it as a political talking point. And I think that Roland Martin knows, because he knows that's one of their main talking points is January 6th and how Donald Trump is a threat to democracy. So Roland Martin must defend that under any and all circumstances. That's why Roland didn't want to say anything critical against them. So that's why he attacked Stephen A. Y'all, that's what's happening. Tether on tether crime, shill on shill crime. What are we going to do? We're going to be cool. That's what we're going to do. We're going to be absolutely cool. Absolutely fine. Because we foundational Black Americans, we're winning. We've won. We told them what the situation was. We told them that. We told them what the situation was. We told all the facts. And now all of the facts are starting to come out now. All of the details are starting to come out now. Now Stephen A. is low-key starting to admit what we were saying from the beginning. We've been saying this from the beginning. Now Stephen A. is starting to say this. Before, let me show you something else, actually. Hold on. That's not what I wanted to show you. Let me show you something else, because I want to give a thank you to every single last one of y'all. A lot of y'all is kind of going back and forth between the hairline poll. A lot of y'all is going back and forth between the hairline poll. Oh, we're going to see. We will see who got the hairline. Let me see. But I want to show y'all this, y'all. And I want to thank every single last one of you guys for this. Let me pull this up real quick. Where is it? Where is it? Okay. I made this post because I was going through the algorithm. And I made this post just to show you guys how well we're doing with the channel. Let me show you. Oh, where is it? Oh my God. Come on now. Don't do this to me. Don't do this to me. Don't do this to me. All right. Let me show y'all this, y'all. Before we get out of here. Okay. It says, this is the actual stat that I was able to pull up. It says views are up 12%. More regular viewers are choosing to watch this video. That was based off one video. This video, they are watching longer, and they're talking about just in general, watching longer, than usual, helping to increase. So the views are actually going up. The channel traffic is going up. A lot of it is based off of my my views from yesterday. We got a lot of subscribers actually off my yesterday video. I made a video yesterday. If you guys have not seen that video yesterday, that video is got a lot of new subscribers. So when we get new subscribers, what happens is that they go back and they kind of do a binge watch of all of my videos from like the last month or so. Every time we get like a boost, anytime we get like 20, 30 plus subscribers based on in a week, in a short amount of time, what they tend to do is they go back and they watch like this video, this week's video, last week's video, and they try to get a real good feel of the channel. So when they do all of that stuff, that increases the overall traffic of the channel. You know what I'm saying? So it's very important that we keep that up. So we're doing good. And that's one of the things I like is sometimes, even when things are a little bit slow, sometimes all it takes is one good video. It just takes one single good video, or a good week, preferably a good week. But it only takes one good video to kind of start to change the tides a little bit. Now, we're kind of going under a little bit of a shadow ban thing here. There are some people who've told me, I'm not saying this because YouTube keeps saying they don't do this, but YouTube, there are some people who have informed me that they have been mysteriously found out that they were unsubscribed. I'm not, for the record, saying that YouTube is unsubscribing people. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that these people have come, multiple people have come to me and told me that they don't know how they got unsubscribed. That is what they are telling me. Anytime I reach out to YouTube, YouTube say they don't do it. Okay, we're not accusing them of that. But you know. So we've always had little setbacks and ups and downs and things like that going on through the channel. We've always done that. Always. All right. But sometimes it takes one good live stream, one good video, one good week. To be honest, that's all it really takes. It really takes a good week. If we get a good start of the week Monday, if we get a really good start of the week Monday, we get a really good video, because that's why I make my videos Wednesday, because I don't want it to dip off too much, you know, so I try to, you know, put something out Wednesday or throughout the week so we don't have this big gap, because that's how YouTube gets us. You know, they'll throw us off the algorithm real quick if we have a gap. So I try not to leave this gap. So if we get something real good Monday and we have some space Tuesday, and then we do something Wednesday, and then we end the week off well Thursday, you know what I'm saying, and we have a good week, a solid week, it will completely put us right back on the algorithm, right back when we're supposed to be, right back. So all of the shadow ban and stuff, they do that stuff, but it really doesn't take that much to counter it. You know, we just need to really be on code and locked in. So that's why I'm constantly telling you all, y'all need to hit that like button. All right. That's why I'm constantly saying it. I'm not saying it for me, because I'm saying it because I know that all of this stuff adds up. And that one good week, because we've seen, if you guys have been following me for some years, you've seen we kind of have a slow week, we have a slow week, we have a slow month, and then next thing you know, we got a one good video, and then all of the other videos are doing well. Now, does it make sense? It's me. Does it make sense? I have a slow month, and then I make one video, and then all of the videos subsequent after that one good video is doing well. No. So it's not me. It's the algorithm. It's all of that stuff. But that's fine, because at least we know it. It's okay when we know it, because we know how to counter it. If we don't know how to counter it, we'd be lost. But we're not lost, because I know what to do, and I'm informing you all on what we have to do. All right. So that's why it's very important to hit that like button and subscribe. And that's why I always say double check. I do the double check thing. Double check. Because sometimes, and I'm not blaming anybody, sometimes you might be unsubscribed without you knowing. So just double check. All right. And then hit that like button. I mean, in the comment, hold on. Where am I? I'm pointing this way. I'm pointing the wrong way. Hit the bell button, right? Hit that bell button, all right? Because that also helps the algorithm. Because when you hit the bell button, it lets people know, it lets the algorithm know that you're like really invested in watching all of the content, not just some of the content, but all of the content. When you hit the bell button, it makes sure, or it was supposed to, make sure that all of the content comes up on the recommendations when you're scrolling through in the suggestions, all right? Not just some of the content, all right? Also, follow me on my various social media pages. That's Afro Elite on Instagram and then The Afro Elite on Twitter, all right? And the links to both of those are in the description below. So you guys make sure that you guys do all of that, because I always announce every time I go live or every time I post a video, so that way you guys don't miss out on that, all right? Like I said, make sure you guys hit that like button. Make sure, hit that like button. Subscribe. Hitting the like button is kind of, to be very honest, arguably a little bit more important than the subscriptions. Okay? Because you can only subscribe one time. You can hit the like button every time. So it really does add up. All right? Because it overall helps the reach. Subscriptions are cool. I'll do a breakdown explaining it, everything. I'll do a breakdown soon, explaining everything. That was good. Let me end this poll. See what the result is for the poll. See what you guys voted on. And the poll will end now. What is the poll result? The poll result says 60% say Roland Martin has a worse hairline. 39%, should be 40. 39% said Stephen A. Smith. Okay. All right. Well, that's what I thought too. Now, with that being said, Black First, my brothers and my sisters, I appreciate every single last one of you all. Thank you all for watching. Y'all stay blessed.